Hello and welcome to the Tell Not Show. I'm Kirsha Fox, author of the Deception and Justice series. My guest tonight is Christy Swift, the author of Hollywood Hookup, which launches in just a few days now on February 10th, 2026. Christy won the Royal Palm Literary Award from the Florida Writers Association and has appeared as an author panelist at the Tampa Bay Comic-con, sharing her insights on genre, romance, and fandom. Welcome, Christy.
Hi, Kirsha. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So glad to meet you. So tell us a little bit about your writing journey. What got you started?
Well, I've been writing since I was a kid. That I was always the sort of English major and the reader, and writing just came easily to me. But I didn't write professionally fiction until I was an adult. I was a freelance writer and editor, but it was mostly medical writing. And I started trying out fiction about, I think like between 10 and 13 years ago. Some friends of mine, my brother was writing a book with a friend, another friend had written a novel. And I remember thinking, why am I not doing this too? So that kind of kicked off my journey.
Mm-hmm. It's funny the influence that the people around you can have on you to inspire you to do something that you used to love doing. You know, you already have the seeds planted there and you're like, you know what? I should do something with these.
Yeah, I think, we don't have confidence in ourselves sometimes, it's that imposter syndrome. And then you see someone else do it and you're like, why not me? So that's exactly what happened to me.
Why not you? Absolutely. I love that. What genres do you write and what draws you to them?
So I actually write two completely different genres, and I can tell you how that happened. But my favorite thing to write is science fiction and science fantasy. I called it like kind of a mashup of fantasy and sci-fi. And I know you write fantasy, so we probably like them for the same reasons. But the book deal I got with Hachette Forever and my debut novel, and then the second one, Hollywood Hookup, are both romantic comedies, but I call them nerdy rom-coms because there's a lot of the nerdy stuff that I love in these books.
Yes. That's actually like really wonderful to hear. I have a lot of friends who write dark romance, and that's absolutely fine. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I'm like, give me a nerd. Give me a nerd romance. Like those are the men that I am naturally drawn to because I'm also a geeky nerd. Let's talk about Star Wars. Let's talk about the MC universe and how it all interconnects. And let's have a conversation with some substance to it that's all about our favorite things. You get more of a connection, I feel, than just he growled and I growling is important, but like you want to like them and be friends with them first, I think.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different types of romance. So I know that dark romance that you're talking about is really hot. And I have some friends who they just eat it up. But for me, it's never really been my thing either. So for me, sometimes I joke and say that my rom-coms are actually calm roms because the comedy and all of that is kind of like where I shine. So the books are really funny. And I kind of wrote them for the like nerdy girls like us. So like Celebrity Crush, the first book is full of Star Wars and Star Trek references and aliens and Terminator and all these, little Marvel Easter eggs. And they're in Hollywood Hookup as well. And in Hollywood Hookup, I kind of leaned into a little different fandom too with Hamilton. My daughter's got me obsessed with Hamilton. So like, I just kind of, all the things that I love, I just kind of like put them in the book. And I'm like, my ideal reader is somebody who likes this stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. You touched on so many different things that I'm like, my head is reeling. I'm like, yes, there's so much there. I admire anyone who can write comedy. Comedy is so hard to pull off. And, you write in the joke and you hope that it lands the right way. And it's so much fun to actually see people laughing or to send you messages. This was so funny because you're like, yes, I did it. I pulled it off.
Humor is hard. I mean, I've written jokes and then I thought they were pretty funny. And then on the second or third read through, I'm like, I'm not really sure that was funny, and I'll take it out. But you've got a good joke if you've read the manuscript 10 times and you're still laughing at your joke. You're like, I know that's a good one. So I definitely, I know that that's one of my strengths is the comedy. And, I find it really fun to add the comedy. It's easier in some moments than others. Sometimes it's hard. And sometimes I'm like, you know what, maybe we don't need a joke here because I just really can't think of a good one. But when you think of a good one, it's just like, it's such a rush.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Can you tell me a little bit about your writing process? How do you go from idea to finished draft?
So I like to call myself a discovery writer. So it's kind of like a nicer way of saying pantser.
Yes, I love that term. But it's
yeah. Well, for me, the biggest part of the fun of writing is discovering the story. So I have tried to plot because everyone will tell you that it's better because it's more efficient and you don't go off in, tangents and have to delete stuff. But, and I tried it because I'm like, okay, I want to be better and do better. And then I'm like, I would plot this entire book. And by the time I got to 15%, none of this was relevant anymore anyway, because I went in a different direction.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is not for me. I want to discover the story. So I use what I call like a headlights approach. So I'll sit down and I'll have my premise in mind and a general idea of kind of what I want to say with this book or where I might want it to go. And then I just kind of look ahead to maybe the inciting incident, the setup and the inciting incident. So I'll know that and I'll sit down and I'll write that. Then when I get there, I reassess. Okay, who are these characters? Who did they start to become? What would they naturally do next? And how am I going to get to, like through the debate into the break into two? And I'll kind of visualize that and I'll write that. And so I'll just kind of chunk it out. And I do usually somewhere at the end of Act 2, it'll get dicey, right? Because I'll be like assessing where I'm at and I'll realize, like I really put myself in a difficult position. And how am I going to get out of this? And how am I going to tie these pieces together? And I usually have to take a long walk, or a shower or take a week and like have the puzzle pieces fall into place. And then the aha moment, and then you sit down and furiously write Act 3. And like, then you need like a 3-hour nap.
Yes, I'm familiar with that. My characters are so much smarter than I am. It takes them an hour, but it really took me, in life 2 weeks to be like, oh man, you guys are really in a pickle here. I don't say we had this, guys. Like, and then you have that eureka moment and the inspiration, and you just got to get it down as fast as you can.
And that moment is priceless. And I know you and Julia talked about that moment a little bit in your interview. And I was like identifying, I'm like, yeah, like I remember being on a walk, like, what am I going to do? How can I, what can my, what is it? High tower surprise be? And then you figure it out and you're like, oh my God, I'm like, oh, but I'm half a mile from home. Like I'm almost ready to like run home so I can get it all out and wrap up this story and have that, like that emotional payoff, right? That comes with that.
Yes. There's nothing like that at all. It's my favorite. Okay. Well, thank you. For you, what is the most important part of writing?
The most important part, I think it would be a combination of character development and voice. Especially if you're going to go traditional, voice has become so important. You really have to capture agents and editors' attention like right out of the gate, and you usually will do that with voice. So I've been I kind of started playing around with voice on my second manuscript and really trying to understand how different characters speak differently, what their internal dialogue with the metaphors that they would use are different from someone else. Like how do they think? What do they love? What is their job? And try to incorporate. And that's where I get a lot of my humor too. So like if I have, like, for example, in Celebrity Crush, our main character is obsessed with sci-fi. And so she speaks in sci-fi references and movie references. And, generally it's the stuff that most people have seen. Like there's not a lot of really obscure things in there. But, when you talk about a Terminator knock on the door, that you kind of get that idea.
Mm-hmm.
So voice is really important, and character development, because the other thing you have to do to capture a reader's attention out of the gate is you have to make them care.
Yes.
If they don't care about your character, it doesn't matter how exciting that opening scene is. The, ship is on fire and careening, through atmosphere onto a planet. But so what? The reader's going to be like, so what? If you don't make them care. And I don't know if you've listened to it, but Lisa Cron's first 3 pages seminar that she does, I think you can buy it as an audio file from RWA. She talks about giving it all away in those first pages. And I felt like it was so counterintuitive. Like, what is she talking about? I got to hold something back. I have to make the reader want something, right? Like I can't just give it to them. But what she's really talking about is giving away the motivation, and the feeling to make you care. You can hide details about the plot, and you can hold that kind of stuff back, and you can ask questions and hint at answers or answer them and then ask another question. But if you don't give the reader up front something to root for, then you risk losing them.
Mm-hmm. I tend to, I think of it in my mind as the I want song. Most of the time in our favorite movies or our favorite books, what the character wants and their motivations are very clear very quickly. And I feel like that's what we latch onto, that relatability of, oh, yes, you want, like, how are you going to make that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing that insight there. You're right. If you don't capture your reader within the first 3 pages, it's really hard to keep them reading. Our attention spans are so short now, and we're so short on time and energy. Like we want to be drawn in right away without having to work for it quite so hard.
And if you don't capture their attention, there's a gazillion other things out there that will. And you mentioned that I want, and I just wanted to add what else is very compelling is if what the character wants is not what they really need, and the reader can tell from the setup. And that's the typical rom-com, right? Like they don't want to find love usually. And then, they end up that they didn't need it.
Love kidnaps them. And yes, so many movies, yes. What they want is actually not, like they end up with something better that they never saw coming.
Iron Man, he he went through a big character arc, right? Iron Man. And Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's one way that we show the character shift, the character arc. How are they growing? How are they changing? How are they blooming into their truer selves? It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. And I find that part difficult. I don't know about you, but because people and characters, sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And it's really a dance and a balance, and it can be difficult. But that's where your critique partners, I feel, are very important, helping you figure that part out.
Yes, there's other people around you. It's so important to reach out for help and to get more eyes on your page to help you along and to see if things land, see if things are compelling. Yeah,
if it works. And they'll tell you if your jokes work too. If it's not funny, they'll tell you. And if it's funny, they will. And that may be my favorite part of drafting something new is I have a great critique group, and we'll just share the Google Doc. And to have your friends in there, like commenting LOL and oh my God. And, like as the first draft of something you wrote, which is generally not necessarily the best. That's kind of like gives you the payoff to keep going, I find,
The comments are my favorite part.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just emojis like happy laughing emojis, and you're like, yes.
Yes.
That's the best compliment.
It's true.
So, all right. Do you have a favorite author, and what's something that they do best?
Oh gosh. So my favorite author is Lois Lowry. In fact, the Giver series, when I discovered that The Giver was more than one book, that it was an entire series, my world changed and I read all of them and I'm like, this is the stuff I want to write right here. Like she's just masterful and in her simplicity and she almost has like a magical realism but sci-fi version going on. I just love her stuff. And, the themes are there, but they're not thrown in your face. It's like you feel them rather than are told them and you figure it out. I just think she's masterful. If I could ever be like Lois Lowry, if anyone ever compared something I wrote to Lois Lowry, I feel like that would be the pinnacle for me.
Yes. I have only read The Giver, although I own the other books. They're on my TBR. But I love that even a younger child, a kid can read these and understand the themes. It's simple, but you have absolutely no problem picturing this world that she's created and the problems within that. And there is very real fear. You're so concerned for this character and what's going to happen to them. And I'm going to have to agree with you completely. That's such good writing.
And yeah, and I feel like I can't even think of something out of the gate, but her descriptions, clear, simple, not overly worded, just enough, like that Goldilocks of just enough description and perfectly worded. She's so talented.
Yes. How do you make time for writing?
I've been really bad about that recently. Yeah, I had my own business as just a freelance writing business for a while, and I was able to manage my time better. But I recently moved into a full-time technical writing role, and the 40 hours a week plus life has made it very, very hard. So I haven't really written anything new for a while. I'm working on that, but I went through a lot of big life upset shuffles in 2025. So I'm giving myself grace. I'm like, the good news is I wrote a bunch of stuff before that. So in 2023, like in 2022, I produced a lot of stuff. So now it's like I have 2 manuscripts going out on submission. I wrote them a while ago, but they're great. And, I could get book deals from those. Meanwhile, I have this time to sort of sort out my life and get to a place where I feel like I have life stability so that I can put energy into creativity, because you can't force it. And if you're overwhelmed in other areas of your life, you just really can't create the things that you want to anyway. So I'm kind of coming out of one of those seasons, and I'm hoping in 2026 that I'll be writing some new stuff again. And I'll probably do it in the evenings after work and, before bed.
I feel this so hard. It's so important to give yourself grace, to give yourself forgiveness, to not let those imposter feelings tell you that you're not an author anymore because you haven't produced anything in such amount of time, whatever it feels like to you. Yes, you have to give yourself time to be stable again, to have extra to pour from, yes.
Yeah, I have a friend and she talked about it. She called it adaptive energy. Adaptive energy is a certain type of energy that you need to be able to deal with difficult things and to be creative. And if all your adaptive energy is being used to deal with life, you don't have a lot left over for creativity. So, but that shifts and it'll come back.
It will come back. Yes. And partly because I think it's who you are, the words, is part of your soul. You need to have creative expression for happiness, so it will come back.
And I will say everything I write turns out to be therapy for me, whether I like it or not. Like, I won't know it at the time, but then at the end, I'm like, oh, wow, like, looks like I was working through that, wasn't I? I think that's how writers process, right? That's how we process our emotions.
Yes. Every main character who's talking has something to say that you're trying to say to yourself, I feel like.
Yeah, I would think that's true.
Sorry, I'm laughing at all the times my characters have turned around and looked at me and go like, you're working through something here. Do you need a moment to
Why am I crying?
this on us? Can you go get therapy?
Nope, guys, sorry, you are my therapy.
You are my therapy. Good luck.
Deal with it.
Deal with it. But when they deal with it, you are also dealing with it.
Yeah.
So
they're happy to help.
I feel like they are happy to help. What is something you've learned from the writing process? Something you didn't know when you started out writing novels?
Oh, okay. Well, when I sat down to write my first YA sci-fi novel, I thought to myself, I don't need to take any craft courses. I know how to write. I read. I know what I like to read. I'm just going to write something that I would like to read. And I went in with that attitude, which was completely wrong in so many ways. And I wrote this manuscript. And then I had this thing. And then I took it to what was it? SCBWI conference. So Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, because it was YA. And I paid to have a critique from a professional, and it was Lauren Oberweiger, who I was matched with. And she sat down and she very gently and lovingly pointed out all my rookie moves. But she is so wonderful. She did it in a way that instead of feeling discouraged, I felt empowered because.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, she's really good at that. I started to understand not only that I had made a bunch of rookie mistakes, but that there was a lot I didn't know. And that was a bit presumptuous of me to think that I didn't need any guidance. We can always improve craft. And I mean, there's craft, and then there's also publishing, right? So depending on your publishing goals, there are things you need to know there. So that kicked off my, I shut down that whole, I don't need to learn anything dialogue that was wrong in my head. And I just started going to conferences and watching things and learning and building my community. That was another thing. I'm finding your writing community as a group and kind of helping each other and lifting each other up, being lifted up, and then pulling someone up behind you. All of that was so important. And that's why it takes a long time, especially trad, that whole process takes forever. But even just getting your manuscript to the point where you can get the attention of an agent takes a long time, a lot of humility, a lot of eyes. And you kind of have to enjoy that process or you're not going to have a lot of fun.
Well said. Well said. I agree with all of that. And I went through something similar on my own of like, I've read so many things, like how, and then you learn about like head hopping and how commas work. And
hopping, it's a problem. It is.
Overuse words and giving your characters a different voice, and just plot devices. There is so much to learn. You can always improve. Even the people who have published 10, 20, 30 books are telling me there is always more to learn. There is always ways that you can hone your craft and keep going. And I love how you added that you pull people up behind you because this very much is a community thing. Like, don't try to do this alone. Find your community who will help you and invite people in. Yes.
I mean, networking is a big part of it.
Mhm.
I got my agent because one of my writer friends who was doing some work for that agency pitched my book at just at a meeting. He, out of the blue, he was just like, "Oh, my friend wrote this manuscript and blah blah blah," and he pitched it right there. And they were like, "We want to see it." My agent read it. She loved it, made the offer. I mean, I owe him, thinking, well, first of all, like being in our group, supporting each other, and then him feeling like that was something he wanted to do. That kicked everything off for me. So
I want, my first impulse is to say the word lucky, but you made your own luck. You wrote the book, you had it ready, you had it polished, you had your friend group, so it's wonderful that he did that for you, but you were also ready and to the point where he could.
Well, that's what they say, right? Luck is opportunity meets readiness. So
Yes.
you can't control opportunity. You can control readiness, and you can put yourself out there for opportunity. And then, some of it is just luck. I mean, some of it is, a lot of it is. But not necessarily for writing or publishing at all, but like maybe a bestseller, so there's a lot of stars that align for your book or your genre to be hot at that moment, zeitgeist. What else what else are publishers looking for? And you can't go by what's hot in the market, because publishing is 2 years behind that, or ahead of that. So they've already moved on to the next thing before you read it and say, "Oh, I'm going to write something like that." Like the minute you do that, you're already 2 years behind. So that's why they say writers just write the story you want to write. Tell the story you want to tell. And, lightning may strike, and that might be the story that other people are wanting to read when it finally comes out. And, tapping into zeitgeist, it's one of those things you kind of can't plan for. It's going to happen or not, but it can't happen if you don't write the book, if you don't position yourself properly, educate yourself on how it works so that you can be ready.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And you're completely right. You can't chase the trends fast enough. They're already gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So just write what's in your soul.
Yep.
All right. So we talked about how those moments of inspiration and furious writing sessions are kind of your favorite. Do you have a least favorite part of writing?
Gosh. I would say, oh God, I think like the sales part of it, and selling your book and standing there and like talking about your book and trying to like memorize your elevator pitch. It's hard. Like a lot of us, I'm not necessarily an introvert, but I would call myself an extroverted introvert. So when I'm there, I can be on, but it is draining. And, rather than being out there talking about my books and standing at a table, I'd rather be like writing a new one or talking to other authors or talking one-on-one to readers. I would say like, yeah, the sales aspect, and just, cutting through the noise to have your story shine and be seen is the hardest part.
It is. There is so much competition. And it is hard to feel like you're begging people to take a chance on you, to take a chance on your book.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no way around it, is there?
No, I mean, unless until that lightning strikes and your book is the one that everyone gets excited about, and then that takes off without you and you can just show up. I mean, that would be the dream, right? Just
Yes.
show up and sign the books and the line is, out the door.
When the author name is bigger on the book than the title of the book. Yeah, that's what comes to mind. I was like, someday when my name is the biggest part of the book.
Yeah. But that's why, I mean, I talked to a book coach once, Michelle Hazen, and she's told me, you know, what is your goal? And she said, if your goal is to make money, this is really not the way to do that. Like, there are much better ways to make money if that's your goal. So it has to be something outside of, you know, financial success, or, you know, you're doing the wrong thing. Like, there has to be another payoff.
Finding your why is so important. It's something you have to cling to, even because this journey is hard.
Mhm.
It is rough. You cry and wrench your hair and agonize, and it takes so much time and effort and love, and you're pouring pieces of yourself into this. And yeah, no, there are definitely easier ways to make money for sure.
Yeah, and then you're getting rejected, right? Because
Oh, yeah.
you finally hand this baby off to somebody who's going to critique it for the first time, and the first time you read a critique, it always hurts. I don't care who you are, it always hurts. And so but you have to learn to like feel the and then like walk away and then like process it, because I find that critiques from people who read, or, you know, other writers, they're generally right. Most of the time they're right. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they just didn't get it, and that's, you'll know.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times they're right. And so you have the feeling, process the feeling, let the feeling go, and then say, you know what? This chapter is boring and slow. I need to cut it, or add some conflict, or take the one important thing in here and put it somewhere else, you know, and look at it from a less emotional standpoint after you experience the emotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is so important to not allow your pride to keep you from improving, to keep you from learning, to keep you from not allowing your manuscript to be the best it can be. Yeah. You have to be teachable. You have to be humble. You know, you have to look into it and consider it and weigh against, like, what is the criticism and what is the story that you're trying to tell, you know, and
yeah, and sometimes you have to see beyond the actual words. So if they say, you know, this part's boring, I started to lose interest here. What if you look really closely, what they might be saying is, you know, well, these two characters are just sitting at a table talking. Maybe I need to have them actively doing something while they're having this conversation. You know, they're not saying your book is boring. They're saying this scene that is not capturing and maintaining my attention. And as a writer, like, what can you do to, you know, give me more as a reader so that I'm engaged while you're telling me this stuff that apparently I need to know, you know, for the sake of the story.
it needs a wrench thrown in it. It needs some stakes.
Yeah,
raising mistakes here. Yeah,
raising mistakes is a good way to solve that problem. With dialogue, having the characters actively engaged in something while they're talking, rather than just sitting in a restaurant, helps. There's a lot of ways to do it. Have you heard of the id list? Have you ever worked with the id list?
I have not. Tell me all about that.
So the id list, I can't even remember where I saw this. If you look it up, you'll find it. But basically, there are certain things that attract us as humans and gain our interest. So it's things like wealth and sex and you know, there's a list of like sensual things.
Make your id light up.
Games. So these are ones that appeal to most human beings. But then there is the id list, which are the things that just appeal to you, not humans universally, but maybe like just you. So for me, it would be like jellyfish, right? Like, oh, I love jellyfish. I love sentient robots, ballet dancers, you know, I don't know, gardening. These are just things that appeal to me. And you make a list of the things that just light you up. So if you heard it was a book about, you know, talking dolphins, you'd be like, oh yeah, that, you know, and you write those things in a list. because if they appeal to you, there's a good chance they appeal to others. And then when you need one, when you're writing and maybe you have a boring scene, maybe you need to throw some jellyfish in there. Maybe you need to throw a sentient robot in there. You know, just pick something or some things off your id list.
Yes.
And stuff them in there.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, because sometimes someone pitches you their book, their premise, and you're like, that checks off every single box that give me that book. I need this book now. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Take my book.
So it's almost like tropes, but just with anything. It could be a character trait. It could be an item, an animal, anything. So an id list, I feel, is a great little tool for authors to have in their toolbox.
It will make your characters more relatable too, I believe.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be real people, and real people have their funny little idiosyncrasies, right? And they have their id lists too.
They do. All right. What would you say has been your most significant writing victory so far?
Well, definitely the 2-book deal with Hachette Forever, because I was really excited to get the offer from a major publisher. I got to have that whole experience, of going through the editing process with a big house. And as part of that, I ended up getting to do really cool things with Celebrity Crush. I was invited to Tampa Bay Comic-con as a panelist. So I got to go out there and sit, as a debut author up on the stage with other authors and talk about tropes and talk about fandoms and books. And as a part of that, I was invited to go on the daytime TV show and be interviewed by Maggie and Fallon over there in Tampa. I don't know where you're located, but
not very far. I'm over in the Orlando area.
Okay, so daytime TV, got to be on that. And the best part of that was, after I finished filming my segment, I was signing books for the hosts, and I turn around because I'm like, oh, do you have another guest? Do I need to hurry up? Like, do you have another guest? And it was John Rhys Davies, who played Gimli in Lord of the Rings.
Oh my goodness.
He was coming up to be interviewed. And so, of course, I fangirled like crazy, and I got a hug and a kiss on the cheek from him, and I got my picture with him. Yes. So, that might be the pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
That was fantastic. So, yeah, like that book deal and everything that came from it so far has been.
It doesn't sound like it's real, but it happened. Yeah.
It's extra funny because my book was Celebrity Crush, and then I have Hollywood Hookup, and I got to meet like a celebrity. So it was really fun.
Manifested.
Yeah.
All right. Have you ever been given writing advice that just you hate, did not work for you at all?
All right. I hate this whole hate campaign towards adverbs. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I do, because it's certain kinds of adverbs that they're going after, but they paint all adverbs with this brush that they're all bad and you should replace them all. And I'm like, no, because I have read sentences where the adverb was the hero and it made the whole image work and was beautiful and perfect. And I mean, I don't know, it would be a travesty to cut that adverb out. One of my critique partners, Emily Collin, she used the word balefully, and it's the perfect image, of like, that poor dog look. Like, why would she replace balefully with like 5 other words to make a phrase just to avoid the adverb? No. I'll die on that hill.
If an adverb is the most efficient way to communicate, then it should be used.
Yeah, and I understand that it can be lazy writing in certain circumstances, but not all. There are some adverbs that actually make the sentence, and I think that they should all be treated individually based on their individual merit.
Yes. I have like a little mental checklist for adverbs of like, is there a stronger verb? No? Okay. Is there an alternate, like, should I be describing this like in more detail to show it rather than tell. And I'm like, no, it's okay to tell, like, or like you say, like, it doesn't make sense to write a whole nother sentence or 5 more words to describe something that could be encapsulated in this one word,
Especially if it's a very visual adverb like that.
Yes.
Like, balefully, come on.
Mm-hmm. And then other times you need to describe the adverb in a way that people wouldn't picture normally, so the example that comes up in my head is like an adjective. We wouldn't say, we ran across the green grass. You don't need green because you already know that grass is typically greenish. You know what grass looks like. But if you say they skipped across the red grass, like, oh, that's different. So with adverbs, if you go like they skipped gingerly, like, that's describing skipped in a different way that changes the meaning of the verb. So yeah, if you need to describe that verb, well, you have to use an adverb for it. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no verb that means skipped gingerly. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's not a word for that.
Yes, there isn't a stronger verb for that. And it describes maybe their attitude, or maybe their foot is hurt and so they're scared of walking on it. Yeah.
Yeah, or there's like animals like attacking them from the grass. Yeah, like there's so many reasons.
Yes. So anything you can do to paint a clearer picture the most word efficient way you can, do that. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, and if you love that adverb, just keep it. Nobody's noticing. Everybody, your readers are not, I guarantee you go, oh, another adverb. I do it now because I've been traumatized about adverbs. So when I read published books, I'm like, see, she used an adverb and nobody else but her. And she's a best-selling author.
Yes.
But most readers are not traumatized by adverbs, and they're not doing that.
It's funny how we see other authors, like break the rules, and we're like, ha, see, they did it. And it's kind of funny that the more you realize as an author of like, there are no rules, but you have to know the rules first to break them. You know what I mean? Like,
break them well. Yeah.
Deliberate choice. Wonderful. Well, do you have your books handy? Can you show us some covers?
It's a Celebrity Crush. This is my debut. So this one's available ebook, paperback, and audiobook. Hollywood Hookup will be as well. And that comes out February 10th.
Yes. Just a few days after this we'll release. Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about like the premise of them?
Sure. Yes. So, well, I'll start with Celebrity Crush because it's out and you could pick it up. Basically, this is like your total wish fulfillment, right? Like imagine whatever Marvel guy you have a crush on, that's him and that's you. So we start the book with Emmy on a TV show talking about her best-selling novel that's based on her celebrity crush, but she's a social media marketer, so she kept it quiet. She ran a little poll, and she's been brought on the show to like fess up and say who it was she based her book on. Well, little does she know, the host brought out all of the guys from this TV show. Yeah, so imagine like your favorite sci-fi TV show. She gets to meet them all, and one of them is her celebrity crush. They have so much chemistry. It kicks off a movie deal and a promo tour, and she's skyrocketing up there and having the time of her life. However, she has a secret. She actually put a painful piece of his real life in her book, and when he finds out, it could ruin their Hollywood ending.
Oh yeah, that feels a little stalkery. There's a little tiny violation there. Yeah.
She never expected him to read it or be in the movie. So, it kind of worked.
Know when your book's going to really take off, or your what you even put out into that universe, out to the void, what people are going to find. Yeah.
Be careful, authors.
Yes. The internet. The internet is interneting.
And the second book, Hollywood Hookup, is the story of Emmy's best friend, Josie, who is one of my readers' favorite characters. She's kind of snarky and sarcastic, super loyal to Emmy. And we start out Hollywood Hookup with her on a TV show as well. She has been bullied by Emmy into filling in on a celebrity dating TV show. Emmy thinks that she has stage fright, but it's not stage fright. It's that she has a secret, that she has changed her name and her identity because she was a child star on a bilingual TV show down in Mexico, and she does not want to be recognized. So this whole time on the show, she's trying not to be chosen. But of course, her celebrity crush is the larger-than-life captain of the ship, Sean O'Sullivan. And he's kind of quirky himself, but he keeps that on the down low. And the weirder she acts, the more she calls attention. So now she's going to be forced into the spotlight, whether she likes it or not. And I get my log line for that one. I'm like, this is a book about two weirdos who fall in love. And that's the one with the Hamilton vibes in it. For all the Hamilton girlies, Hollywood Hookup is going to check a lot of your boxes.
Wonderful. Yeah, I like the King Henry songs in Hamilton. They are so darn catchy. Yeah, but I like how it brings history to life. So yeah, I don't know anyone who doesn't absolutely love Hamilton. So yeah, that's a strong recommendation for your book.
I hope all the Hamilton girlies find it and read it.
Now, where can readers learn more about you online? Where can they find your books?
Well, my books are at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, the ebooks. Actually, Celebrity Crushes on Kindle Unlimited, at least for a time, and it is available now. A lot of indie bookstores are carrying my books, so you can find them pretty much anywhere. Books are normally sold, Books A Million, not Walmart, not Target, not those, but bookstores, major bookstores and some indie bookstores are carrying them. And you can find me at Christy Swift Books on Instagram and TikTok, and christyswift.com online.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on the show. And thank you to everyone who's watching. And remember, there's always more than one way up a mountain. And to be on our show, find us on social media at The Telnut Show or email us at thetellnutshow@gmail.com. Thanks.
Thank you, Kirsha. This was a lot of fun.